I don't think I've played a game quite like VRchat. Throughout the years, I played very different games, all from completely different genres. So the closest thing I can think of when it comes to VRchat is Second Life, which I've played for only 1 hour. So basically, I know everything there is to know about Second Life. Second Life expert. So when I loaded up VRchat in 2017 due to a certain Knuckles meme, imagine my surprise when I saw all the possibilities for befriending and talking to all these random people. Back in 2017, the game received a huge surge in players due to the funny Red Man. But that was 2017, and back then Eve had no VR, no bitches, and a Toshiba laptop for gaming. So what about now? After 5 years, what has changed? Well, I still got no bitches, but forget about that part. Let's take a look at VRchat and see what's new and what's just changed over the years. Well, I love VRchat. For as much as I trash on the game, I really do love it. I played VRchat for a bit, just a little tiny bit, just a little bit. The game allows for players to express themselves in almost any way they want, from personal bios, custom icons, if you pay the $10 a month, to choosing any avatar you like, and even choosing whether you want to talk or not in the game. It's VR chatting, but you don't need to talk if you don't want to. The amount of freedom you have for your own story or experience honestly comes down to how creative you want to be. You could wear the generic 100th iteration of the same e-boy or e-girl avatar, or you could scour the entire World Wide Web and find a true god avatar. Like I said, there's not many limits to VRchat besides your own creativity. You can even make your own avatar worlds to just upload and have your friends or other players check out and play with. One of my favorite things to do is to just talk to random strangers online, explore some of the user created worlds, or just talk to the Twitch chat when I feel like I want to be clowned on. The game offers thousands of user created content just to explore, as well as communities for basically anything you would want. I love Genshin and Honkai Impact, two of my favorite games ever. So often I tend to be within those worlds talking to others about the game, or just simply trying out new avatars people make. Now, I tend to treat VRchat like I do real life, which is basically treat others with respect and kindness. And while I do love watching the toxicity happen, I don't often partake in it sometimes. For as much as I love VRchat, there is still a level of toxicity here with players. And while it doesn't happen often, I can see why people wouldn't like that aspect of the game. But hey, the block button's there. You just click it and you can block people. You can do that. Regardless, this game has almost anything you could want for the VR experience. Even a full recreation of a level from Super Mario 64 to play with friends and collect stars. All in VR. Just don't tell Nintendo, keep this between us. You can keep a secret, right? Just between us. Now you might be wondering, Eve, what's the point in VRchat? What do you do? Do you still get bitches? Well, folks, it's in the name. It's VR for chatting, and no bitches in sight yet. VRchat is one of those unique games where it has no objective other than to simply talk and converse with your fellow human through VR or desktop. There is no endgame boss or raid or grind or anything of the sorts. Well, you can do that, but those are in the custom user created game modes. But that's besides the point. You just load up the game and talk to those around you. Unless you're like me, whose social anxiety will randomly kick in and make you really, really quiet, like Tomoko from Watamote. Stick around for that anime review eventually. Because the game is updated once a month or sometimes more, it retains its players pretty well, and it's a pretty neat way to socialize with people from around the world. Hell, I've met people from Russia, Japan, Ukraine, or Mexico, all within the same lobby in completely different avatars. FYI, stay away from the Spanish camp. The memes are so toxic that by the end of my session, I had full radiation poisoning and had to be hospitalized. This has been a public service announcement. The more you know. Now, talking isn't even a requirement. I've seen people use sign language or simply be mute and enjoy the game, with 100% of those players confirmed to be a male and a female avatar, which to me is simply another excuse to dump 1,000 hours into this game. Trust me, just accept it now. Any player that's mute is 100% confirmed to be a guy, even if they say they aren't. Now you might be asking, Eve, do you need VRchat to enjoy the game? Do I have to sell my soul to Mark Zuck to buy Quest 2? Well, not at all, unless you want the Zuck, because let's face it, anything is outmatched by the Zuck. While it is the definitive way to play VRchat, you can very much still have fun without a VR headset. Various maps have instructions for both VR and desktop players, so that everyone is included. Finally, a place with equality. One of my favorite hobbies in VRchat is just dancing, and my goodness, do I love it in VR. So much that I bought 3 trackers just to dance for hours and hours on end in the Void Club, to the point that my own boyfriend has to take me out of the game and force me to go touch grass because of how long it's been since I've seen the sun. I'm a pretty energetic person, so I love to talk, and talk so much that I have been muted just because of how energetic I tend to be and how overwhelming it is to some people. Often seeing the random events that happen is why I play, and interacting with these weird or wacky events makes me feel right at home like a Modern Warfare 2 lobby. VR Horror is by far an amazing experience when done right. I highly recommend the SCP horror map, the Backrooms, or any of these. The ambience and content these maps set could very much be their own standalone game. There are even other modes based off things like Among Us, you know, the funny red man, Gmod Murder, and of course, Battle Royale. It would not be a 2022 game without Battle Royale in there. With VRchat, the virtual net is essentially your oyster for what you want to do. The only limits being your PC specs and that Walmart internet connection you keep stealing. Don't think I don't know about it. You can make some pretty lasting friendships in this game. 2 of my best friends ever, Jen and Waka, I met way back when I barely started playing in 2017. And to this day, 6 years later, I still talk to them alongside new ones. Pac, the funny Twitch man, 13, a full-on confirmed terrorist, and Redika, who has 100% devoted to communism. Keep in mind, some friends you make will leave you not because they want to, but because real life is still a thing. Many of my old friends have sadly had to leave due to either moving to new states for college, losing interest in the game altogether, or just simply becoming a mother or father and not having the time of day for it. And some just personal issues we all deal with. It does suck, and it does make me sad, and it will make you sad when it happens to you. The best example I can give for this would be within the anime Overlord. There's a scene where Hiro and Momonga talk to each other, in which Hiro regards how everything that has happened in the past has essentially led up to this moment. But we see that Hiro sort of has personal issues of his own. And I like to think VRchat friends in this sort of way, in that you should enjoy the friends you're making right now in the present, because those friends will not last forever. Like I said, real life is a thing, and much like in Overlord with Hiro, here, sadly, some people just have to quit the game. It's a sad reality, but it does happen, and it does make me sad, much like it made Momonga and Hiro sad. And there's not much you can honestly do about stuff like that. The most you can do is kind of just accept it and maybe, I don't know, find someone to talk to, because it is pretty sad to have a friend that's been with you for a year or 2 years have to leave because of personal issues that you just can't do anything about. While I am grateful for the friends that I have made within VRchat, I also understand that there might come a day where my friend Jen will sadly have to leave, or where Waka will never see him again, or people like Pac will just not be able to join us again. And it does make me sad, but it is something that sadly me and many other players within this game have to accept. And it's pretty intense how you form a relationship with people in terms of friendships. But as I always say, for every door that closes, another one opens.
Now let's go home together.
Friend groups are a pretty neat way to have fun, since it allows for you to play many games with your friends that you meet and sort of move your friendship forward past that VRchat experience and onto Discord, where you can play other games together, or finally gift that sweet Discord nitro to that guy pretending to be a girl that you've been hitting on for the past a month. In fact, there are entire Discord communities just dedicated to VRchat and hanging out or meeting new people, from dancing to watching movies, playing games, or hanging out with furries? If that's your thing, those groups are there doing their furry stuff, you know. Not my cup of tea, nor will it ever be, but they're there somehow. One of my favorite role-playing groups ever, the Lolly Police Department. No, don't click off the video. I promise it's not as bad as it sounds. Just you know, relax. Will actively patrol the VRchat world, stopping harassments, bullying, and will even help to stop hostage situations, and if you're lucky, do your taxes. Of course, much like the real world, will arrest you if you are caught committing crimes, and I've run into them, you know, a couple times. But like a true American, I pulled the gun on a furry for not giving me my burger and was promptly arrested. They didn't read me my rights and kind of kicked me around a bit, but only after I punched one of them in self-defense. So yeah, they are definitely abusing their powers, and I will be speaking to that furry's manager, and no, I will not say sorry. But it's amazing roleplay communities like these that make VRchat so interesting and addictive. Once, while on stream talking to randoms, we were invaded by what seemed like cute and cuddly little hapus that only stare at you and say poi. I called them my children and then proceeded to hug and head pat all of them, only to follow them through a portal and come upon an otherworldly place where, with the darkest of black magic, they turned me into one of them, and much like a hive mind, my brain was harvested. You know, watch out for those guys. They're dangerous. It's not just role players within VRchat. There's also dancing groups that love to, well, dance. You know, it's in the name. On Saturday night, vibing with the boys and the grills while Mike Myers plays that hip 2013's Kids Bop album. On a side note, I still to this day haven't gotten invited to a dancing group, and all I do is dance alone in the void, so if any dancers in VRchat that dance on Saturday nights with others, please invite me. I promise your mind won't be harvested for the hapus like mine was, and I'll bring my Kids Bop 2016 album. Drinking with people is something you can do, so for all you New Yorkers out there, don't worry, this game has got you covered. Now, I don't drink, but I have seen some of the most hilarious VRchat falling moments from being drunk ever, so come on down. And yes, that drink is spiced. Now, that's not to say it's all good. There is some bad, sadly, like any online game. For example, as much as I like to stare at mirrors, they are a bit of a problem, since often players will just sit on a mirror all day long, which to this day is kind of strange to me. You could be in a beautiful world that took hours to make, but if there is not a single mirror in there, then those players just won't stick around. A detriment for people who make worlds, but you know, whatever. I don't tend to dwell on that too much. I've only spent half my life staring at a mirror, so you know, what do I know? Crashers are by far the biggest problem in VRchat. Essentially, they're just users that will crash your game, which sounds pretty cool at first, but once it happened to you for the 100th time, it's pretty annoying. Now, there are stream snipers, and I've only been stream sniped once, and it was a pretty funny experience for me to be chased around in different VR worlds by crashers. It felt like a manhunt where I was the target, and stuff like that actually makes me have fun. I even made it into a small story where I was the criminal of a syndicate, and Mr. Nasty had sent his goons to hunt me down. Can you tell I like Manhunt? You know, Rockstar Manhunt 3, where is it? But to others just trying to unwind from real life, this could be a pretty bad experience, so I completely understand when people say they hate crashers and just leave the game entirely due to crashing. Thankfully, crashers aren't as prevalent as before. Back in the Wild West VRchat days, players would crash each other just for sneezing, and nowadays the chances of seeing a crasher are really low, unless you're in the black cat. In that case, that's every minute you see a crasher. The game's performance is also pretty abysmal, with some players often lagging out or crashing for no real reason, whether it's the avatar not being optimized or just simply timing out, even if you have a full internet connection, Ethernet 5 gigahertz, but you know, I guess you timed out. While the game's performance is still an issue to this day, issues like timing out or just simply crashing due to the game itself are a bit less now, mostly due to the updates, but they're still there and they are still annoying. And lastly, the toxic players. Now, I won't lie, I've been a toxic player before. I mean, just look at my Pavlov streams and you'll get Modern Warfare 2 flashbacks. Much like any game, VRchat also has its toxic players, which tend to be pretty funny to watch unfold. I don't have much to say on VRchat's toxicity. It's mostly just a group of players roasting one dude. I tend to just watch it and not partake in it sometimes. You know, I don't really engage with it, but much like any game, there's always that one guy with the pop can microphone that you can't help but laugh at. What the? My man, you okay? Yo, chill with that.
Yo, chill with that. So hard. It's not, nothing's gonna happen. It's okay.
My man's scared. Now, there is one aspect I sadly have to talk about, mostly because of just how cringy it is, and that's the ERP scene. Now look, if people want to ERP or erotic roleplay in VR, fine, whatever, it's your game experience, go for it. As long as both individuals are of age and know what they're doing and consent to it, then sure, go and knock yourself out. I'm more prevalent to like VR snuggles, as I understand that a bit more, but ERP is basically just phone sex. Some users go as far as to buy a love sense. Must have been a Valentine's Day sale to buy that. It does, however, happen in public worlds at times, especially when there's literally kids running around, which is pretty bad, you know, that's pretty bad, but it does make for some of the cringiest content to ever grace YouTube. Often when I dance in public, I've been pointed at to ERP lap dance, which is funny to me, and I often make a meme out of it, but thankfully it's not something you'll find everywhere. I'd say the last time I saw a public ERP session was well over 3 months ago, but I do have to talk about it no matter how cringy it is, and believe me, you will get secondhand cringe and embarrassment when you see this shit in public. But it is something people get lost in somehow. I've lost 2 friends because all they did was ERP, to the point where I never saw them for days or weeks on end. And I'm not lying about this, they would legit play the game, do their ERP session, and leave the game. Others be damned, for months on end. And I know I'm gonna get the question, Eve, what are you talking about? How do you know they were ERPing? Maybe they were just trying to get some time for themselves. To which I'll answer that when they put ERPing in their bio and go on the red section, it's pretty obvious what they're doing. Like I said, there's no problems with VR snuggling or VR hugging or VR high-fiving. Sometimes you just want to snuggle with somebody, but the ERP section is pretty cringy to me, and you know, I can't wrap my head around it. But hey, as long as people are of age and consent to it, then yeah, sure. Just don't be one of those people that does it in public, because then you're gonna get laughed at, and much like high school, we don't want that to happen. But these cons are greatly outweighed by the pros. VRchat is a social game with people to meet and interact with on a daily basis. You could play it alone. It'll feel like you're in a backrooms level because of how quiet and lonely it'll be, but you know, you can play single player by yourself sometimes. Many of the people you meet have the potential to be lasting friends, or someone you'll friend and never join or see again. You know, it happens on a daily. Friend somebody and you'll never see them again. It'll happen. From fun community events to the more spooky once a year stuff like Halloween, my favorite by the way, VRchat is a game with a growing community that I'm happy to be a part of. Let me just edit that last part out real quick here. There we go. Now nobody knows I said that. You should without a doubt download it and try it out for yourself. Who knows, it might convince you to buy a VR headset. The game has changed so much from its beginning of being a funny red taco meme man to a well updated and continuously engaging game with tons of new content made from the community each day, whether it's avatars, worlds, or new people that join for you to talk to. As for what headset to use, people can use the Quest 1 if you can find it, or the Quest 2, Valve Index, HTC Vive, or if you're an absolute Giga Chad, you can hack your Android phone, make the Google Cardboard, grab some Joy-Cons, and I'm not kidding, play VRchat this way. People do this, by the way. There's a program and everything. The game supports full body 12-point tracking, meaning with 3 or more trackers, whether it's the Vive, the Tundras, or I'm not even joking with this one, Xbox Connect or the QR code tracker. What? You can physically move your entire avatar and then flex on everyone around you by lying down in your bed in front of a mirror and not moving at all for the rest of the session. Finally, a worthy investment. Anyways, I like VRchat, and despite its shortcomings, being the game's performance, crashers, or cringy ERP, the game has some potential for being one of the best ways into a virtualized world ever. Definitely go check it out, and make sure you spam crowd jump people to get their attention and tell them Eve loves you. Anyways, I've been ChipCube, and now if you'll excuse me, I've got some dancing to get to because VRchat's got some nice clubs to check out. Now go on and check the Honkai Impact 3rd review, a video on just how much Honkai has changed over the years and how its story and content are well worth deserving your time.
You guys don't mind if I join in, do you?